Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seintchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei HaMlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Hello. It's nice to see you all here in the new secular year of 2022. This is our first service, isn't it? 2022.
It's my first service of the year.
Your first service of the year. Yay, that's nice. So it's nice to have you. I don't know if we say Shana Tova. I mean, probably not. Ooh, that's an interesting sound that's happening here. So, yeah, I don't know if we say Shana Tova. We can. It is. That doesn't mean Happy New Year. So I guess it does. It's true. Let's. What do you say in Israel? They say nothing in Israel. They're like, hey.
Hey.
Manishma.
Manishma. So we are together. There's the great Cantor Muchnick over there. Well, all right. Cantor Muchnick over there. I'm just kidding. The great Susan Linder is here with us on this fine Shabbat. I'm Rabbi Keller. We have a special service for you this evening in honoring and commemorating the memory of Debbie Friedman. Debbie Friedman. It's her yortzeit. We believe the date January 9th. 2011 was the date that she passed, and so synagogues all over the country and the world are commemorating Debbie's life through music, and so we will do that tonight throughout our service. So you'll find much of the music and the tunes you know because we do them and because of her influence through the many years that she started out as a song leader and all the way through all of the beautiful work that and influence that she created throughout not just the Reform movement, but many other movements also. And so you will be feeling, hopefully, her presence and her music throughout the whole evening. And so we are thrilled that you're here. If you're joining us on the live stream, you'll be able to hear us and see us as well. You can join along with us in the prayer book if you'd like. There's a virtual prayer book. You can find that on our website, cbiboca.org, cbiboca.org, and you'll navigate to that page. Top left corner, it says menu. Then another button says services. You'll scroll down further, and there'll be a button there for prayer book. It either says Siddur or prayer book, and then you can follow along and chant along and sing along with all of our beautiful music for this evening on this Shabbat. We are going to, we began with Shalom Aleichem from David Friedman. We're going to continue leading us into the lighting of Shabbat candles, not even Shabbat candles yet, but we'll be continuing now with more beautiful music of Hear Our Prayer, also by Debbie Friedman, but played and sung by our very own Susan Linder.
Thank you. Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear our prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. And let us say Amen.
We continue now with the lighting of Shabbat candles. This can be found in your Siddur, either virtually or the one in your hands physically here in our sanctuary on page 2. Page 2.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Now that our Shabbat lights are lit and we have officially begun our Shabbat, we can take our exhale of this week, leave that week behind us, and move into hopefully the peace and the wholeness and the calm that Shabbat provides for us, and to continue to sweeten that presence, to sweeten that time of Shabbat. We continue with Kiddush, and that is on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei piri agafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'vratzon hinchilanu zikaron le'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu vacharta v'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'vratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
We offer thanks, O God, for the Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God, with that connection of Shabbat all around us, in our midst, with our lights lit and the sweetness of our wine on our lips. We continue with our service now with Chatzi Kaddish, which can be found on page 26.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabba be'olma livrach yirutze ve'yamlich malchute becha yechon v'yom mechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael Bagala uvizman kariv veimeru Amen. Yehishmei Rabba mevorach leolam lol mehamaya yitbarach veishtabach vitpar vitroma mitnaseh Ve'itadar, ve'itale, ve'italal, shemei dekudesha berichu, le'ela, min kol berchata ve'shirata, tushbechata ve'nechemata, damiran be'olma, ve'imeru, Amen.
Continue now with our call to worship with the Baruch Hu, page 28, and together we stand.
Lai, 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 Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. We thank God for making night. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, ובדבנה משנה עתים. מחליף את הזמנים, מסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע, כרצונו. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. We continue now with Ahavat Olam on page 32.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, ukim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta, otanu lemadeta. Aken Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbenu, ukumenu nasiach b'chukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ומצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגי יומם ולילה, נגי יומם ולילה. והאדבך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל.
As we momentarily continue into the words of the Shema, we together stand and turn to page 33, where we will alternate paragraphs. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us, and the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works, living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. 34:35.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod, Shem Kevod, Malchuto Le'olam, Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. You may be seated. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you're sitting in your house, when you're walking by the way, and when you're lying down, and when you're rising up, and when you're rising up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
We continue on the top of page 39. 39. Let's read that together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, there's eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Continue with Michamocha on page 40. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without the moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. We take those thoughts and connections with Shabbat and our people and our connections to our Exodus, and we continue now with the Amidah on page 46, where together we stand.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei V'neihem Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiva Ruach Umorida Gashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayim emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umido melach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh HaKol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu Selah. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
We take some time now for our own silent prayers, thoughts, and meditations, beginning here on page 52 through page 62. And when you are done, please be seated. Continue at the bottom of page 62. 62.
Ose shalom bimromav huya ase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose Shalom bimromav huya ase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav huya ase shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav huya ase shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Sing along. Ose shalom bimromav huya ase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Israel ve'imeru amen. Ose shalom bimromav huya ase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
That's fun. That's fun. That's fun. I was playing my air guitar.
Were you?
In my head. It was awesome. I was great. I was sounding really good. Even Muchnick was like, he was really impressed with my air guitar today. It's his favorite instrument that I play, the air guitar. Anything that's silent is his favorite thing that I play. If only there was a silent microphone, he would be so happy if I could play that too. He'd be like, "Oh, this is amazing! I can't hear anything he's saying. This is so great." So, in this time of tremendous uncertainty, when so many are feeling anxious and stressed, the comfort and sense of peace that prayer brings is a wonderful thing, I think. To be able to start our days or to start Shabbat this way is even better. When we try to help people to see how prayer can be a source of comfort in both good times and bad, we want people to begin to open their hearts, to learn to pray and be comfortable in non-threatening ways. And maybe they'll get their first experience doing this through music. Over time, connecting through the music, they may learn the prayers and connect more deeply to them, bringing that comfort even when we're anxious and stressed. Now, I think you'll find those words perfectly timed for what's going on around us in our world. And I'll tell you that not a single one of those words were mine. They were all Debbie Friedman's. She said all those words. And she, whatever point that was in, there is no timing for that quote. But she felt that. She felt that in the times when we were tremendously uncertain and feeling anxious and stressed, and we sought out the comfort and peace that we can start our days that way and connect that way, that music could help do that. And I think more so than ever, particularly in this time that we're all enduring together, all those can be very comforting. From the beginning of her career, she took on the prayers and the teachings and the melodies of ancient Jewish texts and set them to contemporary music. She did that a lot, and she did that with lots of praise from certain people and not a lot of praise from a lot of people, because they thought she was taking sacred text and moments of sanctity and lightening them up too far. And so it wasn't immediately that she released 20 albums and played and performed at sold-out concerts in Carnegie Hall and in hundreds of cities around the world. It wasn't automatically that she was so powerful and not ordained and self-taught. She didn't do that overnight, that HUC, the Reformed Seminary, decided to name its School of Sacred Music the Debbie Friedman School of Sacred Music, even though she wasn't a cantor, even though she wasn't ordained, because of her influence. And so, again, these things don't happen overnight. And perhaps through the connection that we have with Debbie Friedman, with the Reform movement, maybe she's showing us that even amidst these troubled times, when there's uncertainty and anxiousness and stress, when we seek comfort and we seek peace and we seek moments of prayer, we can do it together. We can do it as a community. We can do it through music. We can do it through our families. We can do it through our synagogues. We can do it through all these precious moments that she sought to create. She said that she sat once at a service and watched the rabbi and the cantor, and the service was great. She thought it was a great service. But her inspiration, she wrote, for going on the journey that she did, she thought to herself, no one's moving, she said. No one's doing anything. No one's clapping, no one's moving, their eyeballs are barely moving, people are barely conscious. And she really wanted to change that. That's what she sought out to do. Clearly, perhaps the most famous are the words of her Mishaberach that were so famous and so important that they became liturgy because they're in our prayer book. They're in the Reform movement's prayer book. It's interesting to think that someone who isn't ordained, who was self-taught on their guitar, became liturgy in our text, and that I would say the Reform movement would not be where it is without her. I'll say personally, I grew up in the conservative movement, and I really didn't know that much about her at all. But for her, I'll come back to me in a second, but for her, the guitar became the sacred instrument in her hands where she could open the hearts of other people. That's her quote. She was born in New York, and she began her career unknowingly at the Reform movement's Oling Sing Ruby Union Camp, Azrui, still incredible camp in Wisconsin in the early 1970s, where she sat down with her guitar and she thought that she would take some of the Jewish liturgy and grab her guitar and throw something together. Little did she know that she was starting an entire movement. And so I'll say for myself that when I first started in the Reform movement, and I first went to a Jewish summer camp to work at a Jewish summer camp, I had no idea what was going on. Everyone knew the music, everyone knew all the prayers, and it was all set to, and people had guitars, and I didn't understand what was happening. And I slowly learned that that was all the influence from Debbie, and that wasn't even just that was just the beginning for her. Where the song leading moments were the entry points that she could penetrate further and further into the souls, into the connections of people, so that there'd be a deeper appreciation for Judaism and for God and for text, not just for the guitar and for singing and for being together. In fact, the former president of the Union for Reform Judaism, his name is Rabbi Eric Yaffe. He's the immediate past president. He said this. He said 25 years ago, this is longer now, he said, this is an old quote, he said, years ago, North American Jews had forgotten how to sing. It was Debbie who reminded us how to sing. She taught us how to sing. She gave us the vehicle that enabled us to sing. What happened in the synagogues of Reform Judaism, the voices of song, are in large measure due to the insight, brilliance, and influence of Debbie Friedman. And so, on this Shabbat, I want us to think of that quote, that initial quote that I gave you from Debbie about this idea of the uncertainty and the feeling anxious and not feeling comforted, perhaps, in this time. And also combine it with this connection to our Torah portion this week, which is the Torah portion of Bo. And it talks about the last 3 of the 10 plagues that fall onto Egypt. And I mentioned it in the Shabbat message, but if you didn't read it or listen to it, it's okay. It wasn't my idea. It's a piece of commentary that talks about hyssop. If you know what hyssop is, it's these low-lying pieces of leaves, essentially, these colored leaves, if you will, and that it was that they were the hyssops. The Israelites were told to take the hyssop, dip it into the blood of the kosher animal, and with the hyssop they made the mark on the doorpost, which is the doorpost where the mezuzah is and where the angel of death flew over, and the whole story of Passover. Really, the true hero, the sort of unknown hero, are the hyssop, because they're the ones that we dip the blood into and put on the doorpost. We could use as our hand, we could have used anything else, but it was that. And it was the indelible mark that we leave on the doorpost, by the way, that translates into the future of what we do as a people. And so does the indelible mark of Debbie Friedman on our movement, and I think beyond our movement. Perhaps all liberal movements, if you will. And so I want to close this evening with Debbie's own words. She died at a very young age, at the age of 59, and she gave her final concert at a festival in the UK in England, in Warwick, at the University of Warwick. And she left a profounding note right after her last concert, and she said this, and I want to leave you with these words of hers. She says, "Sometimes life takes its turns into the unknown and presents us with challenges we should have preferred not to encounter. Suddenly we are confronted with our pain," she wrote. "Our pain need not bury us. Instead, it may elevate us to the point of healing if we choose to allow it. Remember, out of what emerges from life's painful challenges will become our healing and ultimately our greatest healing will come when we use our suffering to heal the pain of others. And I think that creates that influence that Debbie leaves on all of us, that indelible mark. And so I hope that not only will you take the Shabbat to reflect on that, but also reflect on Shabbat and think about all the people in your life who left those indelible marks on you and made you who you are today as a Jew and as a person. Shabbat Shalom. We think of those in our community who are in need of healing, a physical, emotional, or spiritual healing. We think of Chavalea Bat Esther, Gary Bandel, Lillian Bushell, Sloan Caston, Brian Church, Karen Coles, Chuck Curry, Casey Daskell, Mark Davis, John Day, Jaden Deal, Jill Gottlieb, Judith Dratler, Margot Engel. A special shout out to Margot Engel. That's Renee Schwartz's mom, who is, God willing, turning 106 on Sunday. So Margot Engel, for you on Sunday. Also a Holocaust survivor. We continue, we think of Bobby Fitchman and Herbert Fitchman, Stuart Fruman, Sarat Zipporah Bat Malka, Martin Edelman, Chava, Reina Bat Esther, Ellen Hedrick, Larry Horn, Paulette Howard, Stan Jacobson, Ira Kafka, Shirley Kafka, Gary Kane, Michelle Kingen, Esther Rhoda Kaufman, Stuart Kruger, Gloria Land, Rochelle Liebman, Michael Medoff, Linda Greenblatt Neuwirth, Arnold Plotsky, Gloria Plotsky, Elliot Porwich, Mark Rosenberg, Lexi Schlessenberg, Jason Seidman, David Schwartz, Diane Spiro, Gloria Spiro, Barbara Weiss. To those names who had any name that you would like to add at this time. What do you say, Lydia? This is for Misha Berach. He's on the list. I have him. Shabbat can be found on page 253.
Bless
So we go from the words of Mishaberach, put together, of course, by Debbie Friedman, to another very memorable and connective piece of music, Lechi Lach, also Debbie Friedman. That is on page 341. 341.
Hey, Rabbi, before I sing this, I just want to say that I happen to know Debbie Friedman personally. She was my teacher, my mentor, my friend. I performed several times with her and took many, many, many classes with her, and just a joy to know her. And she is part of the influence. The reason why I do what I do is because of Debbie Friedman. I mean, there are several others, but Debbie Friedman was one of those who stood in front of me, and I said, that's what I want to do when I grow up. So I appreciate this service, and I know Debbie's listening, and I know a lot of other people are listening too, so thank you. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat Hayim, Lesimchat Hayim, Lesimchat Hayim, Lechi Lach. Join me from the beginning. Lechi Lach, to a land that I will show you. Lech Lecha, to a place you do not know. Lechi Lach, on your journey I will bless you, and you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach. Lechi Lach. And I shall make your name great. Lech Lecha. And all shall praise your name. Lechi Lach, to the place that I will show you. Lesimchat Hayim, Lesimchat Hayim, Lesimchat Hayim, Lechi Lach. And you shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechi Lach.
We have some announcements for you on this fine Erev Shabbat. Tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m., will be our Shabbat morning service and Torah study. we'll be looking at this week's portion of Bo. So we'll be looking at those last 3 of the 10 plagues that fell onto Egypt, and lots of other intriguing parts of the Torah portion. 8:30. Still tickets left for Henry Winkler. Very few, actually. Very, very few, but there are still some seats. Next Friday is MLK weekend, is that right? Yes. So Pastor Brown from Ebenezer Baptist Church will be here. God willing, that is the plan. We'll see what pandemic has to say about that, but for the moment, the plan is we are honored to have him join us on our Bima and to share with us this beautiful duality, not only of MLK weekend, but also of our Torah portion being Beshalach, which is the Song of the Sea, where we walk through the sea together and feel our freedom. And so justice and freedom together mixed beautifully with our communities also. So that's going to be Friday. Then on Monday is the interfaith walk that is done by BRICA, the interfaith organization in town. If you'd like to be part of that walk, we'll have information for you on our website. It is a walk that is around the Meisner area on MLK Day. So that will be on Monday. And we have adult classes available. They are also on our website for you to check. And what else? Is that it?
I think so.
Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right. I think that's pretty good. We're going to continue with all of our awesome programming as much as we can, and we're going to have good weather, hopefully, and we can do it outside. We have a beautiful tent out in the courtyard that is now down because we had to clean it. And no, that was a temporary, but now our other one's going to go back up. It has to get what's the word? It has to get cleaned and
Refurbished?
no, not refurbished. The city has to give us a re-permitted. It has to get, thank you, have to get re-permitted and cleaned, and it should be back up in a couple of weeks, and then it'll be out there for us to enjoy outside the nice weather here in Florida. I think those are all the announcements that I have for us tonight. We're going to begin to conclude our service with Aleinu and Kaddish. Aleinu can be found on page 282. Together we stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We transition our thoughts now to Kaddish Yatom, to Mourner's Kaddish. We think of Esther Canterman in the period of Shiva, the immediate 7-day mourning period, and we think of Philip Siegel and Gary Sobel and Hai Gross in the period of Shloshim. We also think of Corey Nahum. For our yortzites that occur this week, Rose Bloom, Ida Bergman, Howard Brown, Eleanor Burstein, Ann Cook, Barry Drucker, Esther Feldman, Shirley Feldman, Riva Gertrude Feidler, Alvin Fisher, Anna Frank, Barry Gordon, Louis Itzkowitz, Melvin Karnowski, Jerry Lee, Marvin Lynn, Edith Michelson, Lily Mickler, Aaron Miller, Gianluca Petrella, Elizabeth Rosen, Julius Rosen, Ernest L. Rothschild, Patrice Schildkraut, and Douglas Shabbat. To those names, we had any name that you would like to add at this time. Kaddish Yatom can be found on page 294. Yitgadal v'kadash shmei Rabbah, v'alma divrach cherutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chay dechol beit Yisrael, b'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'omah, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitomam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei l'kudusha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, Damiran ba'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba mishamayim, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel. As together we say, Amen. Please be seated. We will conclude our service on this Erev Shabbat, of course, with music by Debbie Friedman of Tfilat Haderech. That can be found on page 345. 345.
May we be blessed as we go on our way. May we be guided in peace. May we be blessed with health and joy. May this be our blessing. Amen. Sheltered by the wings of peace, may we be kept in safety and in love. May grace and compassion find our way to every soul. May this be our blessing. Amen. Blessing. Amen. 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 May this be our blessing. Amen.
Adonai oz la'amo yiten, Adonai varech et amo v'shalom, God who gives strength unto our people, continue to bless us with hope and strength and love and peace. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom.